Here is everything you need to know about Capture One from start to finish. So I'm going to open my Capture One and I'm going to show you how to import pictures to Capture One. And to import picture, I'm going to show you how to create a section. Alright. Now once I Capture One open, I'm just going to come to my Windows and just reset my Windows to the default Capture One settings. And I'm going to show you how to customize the Capture One after I finish showing you how to import pictures to Capture One. So the first thing we want to do, we're just going to create a section. Now to create a section, just come to your file and come to your new section right here. You are going to see this tab right here. So we have the name, so you can set your section to any names. So I'm going to name this section Capture One Tutorial. And also for the location, you can choose the location on your laptop where you want this Capture One session to be saved, because Capture One session is saved locally on your laptop. So mine is saved to my user, Mac, and picture. So if you want to change it, you can just click on this three dot icon right here and select the location you want your Capture One folder to be saved. This works both on Mac and both on PC. So I've already saved mine to my pictures, so I'm going to cancel this. Also, you have the template. Mine is only set to blank. Now for the subfolders, Capture One will automatically create some folders for us. So we have the capture folder, we have the select folder, we have the attribute folder, and we have the trash folder. And also we have the capture name, which is this Capture One Tutorial. And I'm going to show you what this folder is and how it actually works. So from here, I'm just going to click on OK. Once I click on it, we successfully created a new section. And if you check up here, you can see the Capture One Tutorial is the name of this section. Like I said earlier, this section is saved on your laptop locally. So if I just come to my Finder, I come to my picture, you can see the section right here, Capture One Tutorial right here. So if I just open this folder, you can see we have three subfolders. We have the capture, we have the attributes, we have the select, and we have the trash, which is the subfolder we have right here, which is the capture folder, the select folder, the attribute folder, and the trash folder. So you can see we have the same thing right here on our laptop. So if you create another section, you are still going to have the same thing right here. Okay, I hope you understand up to this point. Now that's how you can create section inside of Capture One. Now after creating a section, I'm going to show you how you can import pictures to that section which you created. Now to import picture, there are two ways to import picture, and I'm going to show you my favorite way to import pictures inside of Capture One. So you can click on this import right here. So once I click on this import, from here you can see import from. So you can choose where you want to import that pictures from. So if I just come to my document right here and just click on this wedding pictures. Now from here, I can manually select the pictures I want to import like this and click on import for review. And I can also select then the one I want from here. Or what I can do, I can just go back and choose from that folder again and just click on all. I'm just going to bring all those pictures inside that folder into Capture One. And from here, I can select the one I want to edit and just click on import. So if I select, let's say this one, and this one, these two right here, I can just click on import, or I can click on pick all right here. I'm just going to select all the pictures inside that folder, but I don't want that. So I'm just going to cancel and just manually select the pictures I want. So I'm going to click on import again, select the folder. I'm going to click on choose. From here, let's say I want only these pictures right here to import. So I'm going to select only these 5 pictures and just click on review for import and just click on import the 5 pictures which I selected and just click on import all right here. Now you can see we have only that 5 pictures inside of Capture One instead of importing the whole pictures inside that folder. So this is one way you can actually import pictures to Capture One. Now here is the thing. If you import pictures like this inside of Capture One, those pictures are automatically going to save inside this session favorite, which is this Capture One Tutorial. And remember, we have that subfolder inside our laptop. So if I just come to my Finder right here, then you can see automatically those pictures right here have been copied inside this Capture One Tutorial session which we created. So if I just come back, come to this my Capture One Tutorial, you can see these pictures right here. They are now inside this Capture One Tutorial. And from here, you can start doing your editing. But this is not how I personally import my pictures to Capture One. So what I do, to import pictures inside of Capture One. Since we already created this Capture One section, so I'm going to manually look for the pictures which I want to import to Capture One. So I'll come back to the wedding pictures or any picture you want to edit. So I'm just going to manually select those pictures. So I'm going to select pictures from here. All right, so I'm going to select all these pictures and just copy them. So Ctrl C to copy. Now, once I copy them, I'm going to locate that Capture One section which we created. So I'll come to my Mac, I'll come to my picture, and come to my Capture One tutorial, which is the section we created inside of Capture One. All right, so I'm going to open that section. I'll come to this my capture folder and just paste everything here inside this capture folder right here. So I'm going to press Ctrl V or Command V to paste those images. Now, successfully import those images inside my Capture One. So if I come back to my Capture One and just come to this my capture folder, you can see those images right here are inside my capture folder. So these are I personally import pictures to Capture One. So instead of using this import right here, I just copy the image from the file and paste it into my capture folder. Now, these images that are inside this Capture One tutorial, if I want to put them inside this Capture One folder, all I have to do is come back to my Finder, come back to my sessions, and just copy these images right here. Once I copy them, Ctrl C to copy, just come back to my capture folder and just paste them here. So if I come back to this my capture folder, they will automatically move to this my capture folder right here. So you can see the images right there, but we still have them here since we did not cut them. But if I come back to my Finder and just delete them from this folder right here, they are not going to be under that place again. So you can see right here, my Capture One tutorial is empty because there are no pictures right there. All the pictures right now are inside this capture folder. So this is how I import pictures to Capture One. If you are confused, you can just take the video back and watch it all over again. All right, now that you know how to create session and how to import pictures into Capture One, let me show you how you can actually customize your Capture One. Now, customizing your Capture One is individual preference. For me, I want the tools I use regularly to be easily accessible. So right here, we have our library, we have our theta, and we have our style. Now, I really don't use this style so much, so I'm going to remove this style from this part and just replace it with my color tab. So I'm going to come to style, I'm going to right click on style and just click on remove style tab right here. And I'm going to click on remove. Also, I don't use this shape. I'm going to click on this shape and just click on the remove tool right here and click on remove. Also, I don't use this refine, so I'm going to click on this refine, just click on the remove tab right here and click on remove. Right, so right now we have our adjust and we have our colors. Now that's my color to be before the adjust. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on adjust and just remove adjust, click on remove. Now I have my library, I have my theta, and I have my color tab right here. Okay, now I want to add my adjustment tab to this place right here. So to do that, I'm going to click on this three dots right here and click on add to and just click on adjust right here. And right now we have our library, we have our theta, we have our color, and we have our adjust. So if I want to add another tool, I can just click here, click on toolbar, and let's just add this style right here. Let's add style. So I have my style right now. If you want to add more, you can choose to move this part, or you can just click here, click on add tool. Let's add refine. And once I add refine, we're able to get this angle right here. So if I click on this angle, we have our refine right here. Now if I come back to adjust and you want to access your refine, all you have to do is click on this angle right here and you're going to see refine right here. So if you want to add more tools, you can just click on it, add more tool tab. And if I want to add shape, I can click on shape right here. And if I click on my color and I want to access my shape, what I can do, click on this angle right here and click on shape. It's going to come to your shape bar like this. So I'm okay like this. I have my library, I have my theta, I have my color, I have my adjust, and I have my style right here. So this works for me. All right. And not just that, you can do more. So let's say I want my base characteristics to be above my histogram. So what I can do, I can just click and drag this base characteristics and put it above my histogram. You can see I have my base characteristics and I have my histogram right here. Now let's say I want my layer and mask to be the top. I can just click on my layer and mask and just put it at the top right here. So I have my layer mask, I have my base characteristics. Also, I have my white balance right here. What if I want my white balance to be before my base characteristics? I can just click and drag my white balance and put it above my base characteristics like that. So that's how you can actually customize these layers right here under the toolbar. All right. So you can do the same thing for the adjust. You can move the white balance and you can just change it. Also, if you want to remove what you don't want, like this style brush right here, I really don't want it. So I'm going to click on it and just click on remove style brush. I'm just going to remove. Also, this smart adjustment, I don't want it here. I can just right click on smart adjustment and just click on remove. I'm just going to remove the smart adjustment. Also, if I want to remove curves, I can just click on curves and just remove curves right there. I'm just going to remove curves. All right. Obviously, I don't want to remove curves. So let's say I want to bring back my curves. Also, let me just remove exposure. So I'll come to my exposure, remove exposure. Now, I don't want to remove exposure and I don't want to remove my curve. So to bring those back, I'll come to my windows. I'll click on create floating tool. And I'm just going to look for curves. So this is the curve right here. I'm going to click on curves. You can see I have my curve back. So what I can do, I'm going to click and drag my curves and just put it where I want it. I want my curves below the levels. So I'm going to put it below my levels. Click on curves and just put it below my levels. So right now, I have my curve back. What about my exposure? To bring back my exposure, I'll come back to my windows. I'll click on create floating tool and just look for exposure. So this is exposure right here. I'm going to click on exposure. You can see I have my exposure back. I'm going to click and drag my exposure and just put it below the white balance like this. So we have it back right here. And if you want to add more tools, you can just come to your windows, click on create floating tool, and you have different tools to choose from right here. So you can just click them and just add them. So if you want to add grid, I can just click on grid. I'm just going to show my grid. And also, I can click and add my grid to this place right here. But I don't want to add my grid, so I'm just going to remove my grid. So I'm going to right click and just click on remove grids tool right here. And that's what you can do. You can also come to this windows right here. So if you want your pictures preview right here to be large, you can just click and drag it and it's just going to be large, as you can see. Also, if you want it to be small, you can just click and take it back and it's just going to be small. So I like using mine to the smallest, so the smallest works for me. So not just that, you can actually customize these tools right here. So these are the default, and I like leaving mine as default, but you can actually customize it. Now to customize it, just right click on this empty place right here. Once you right click, just click on customize toolbar right here, and you have different toolbar right here. All right. So let's say I don't want this before and after right here. I can just click and drag it and put it inside here. And it's not going to be there anymore. Now, let's say I don't want this exposure warning right here. I can just click and remove that exposure warning. And also, if I want to add this rotate right there, I can just click and drag this rotate and just put it right here. So you can customize it the way you want. So if I click on OK, you can see I've customized it. Now, let's say I want my before and after and that exposure warning up here. I can just right click again, click on customize toolbar, just remove this rotate and just put my before and after right there. Okay. Also add my exposure warning. I'm going to look for my exposure warning. Look on my exposure warning and just put it right here like this and click on OK. So right now we have the before and after, we have our grid and we have our exposure warning right there. So you can also choose to move your toolbar. So if I just click on customize toolbar, I can choose to move this one the way I want. So like this works for me. So I'm going to leave it like this. All right. And just click on done. Now from here, you can choose to save your workspace in case you mistakenly put it on default or set it on default. All right. So to save your workspace, just come to your windows and just click on workspace and just click on save workspace. And from here, you can name your workspace the way you want. So I already have a workspace saved for me. So I'm going to load that in my workspace. I'll come to my windows, come to my workspace, and just going to click on Teelens workspace right here. And just going to change. So this is my default workspace. This workspace always works for me. So you can see we have the library, we have the theta, we have the color, and we have the adjust. Because the color and the adjust are the tools I use more regularly or frequently. All right. So this is how you can customize your Capture One. Now after customizing your Capture One, let's talk about the toolbar. So from here, you can see we have the library, and this library consists of the capture folder, the select folder, and the aspect folder. So if I export any pictures in Capture One, it will automatically save to this output folder. While if I delete any pictures in Capture One, it will automatically go to my trash folder. So let's say I want to export this picture right here. I'm going to click on Export and just click on JPEG, Save for Web. So this is the default settings, so you can use it. So if I just click on Export Image, so basically you can export one image or you can export multiple image. So to select multiple image, just hold Command or Control and select multiple image. So if I want to export this 3 image, I'll click on Export right here and just click on Export Image right here. So once I finish exporting it, it's going to come to my attribute folder right here. So if I just click on this attribute folder, you can see we have the 3 images right here. All right. Also, if I come to my Finder, remember this capture folder is locally stored inside our laptop. So this is the attribute folder right here. If I just click on this attribute folder inside my laptop, I'm going to see the pictures which I exported, which is these 3 pictures right here. And from here, I can send it to the client, or I can upload it, or I can send it to my phone. All right. Now that's for the export folder. Now for the trash folder, if I come back to my capture folder and I decide to delete this picture right here by pressing on Command Delete or Control Delete, or just right click on it and just click on Move to Trash, it's just going to move to my trash folder. So if I just come to my trash folder, I'm going to see the 2 pictures which I moved to trash folder. So if I just come to my Finder again and I come to my trash folder, inside my capture folder, click on Trash, I'm going to see these 2 images right here. Right? So if I want to delete it permanently, I have to delete it from this folder right here inside my laptop. So let's delete this one. So I press Control D or Command Delete, it's just going to delete it. And you can see the picture is no longer in my capture folder right now. So if I want to bring this picture back, all I have to do is just right click and just click on Move to Select Folder. And right now, I'm going to click on Confirm. I'm just going to move the file from my trash to my Select folder right here. Right? After I come back to my Finder and I come back to my Capture One and click on this Select folder, this picture right here is going to be on my Select folder right here, as you can see. So basically, that is how these folders inside of Capture One actually works. All right. Now from here, we have album, we have 5-star album. So any picture I select to 5-star is going to be saved under this 5-star album, or it's going to be under this 5-star rating right here. So let's say I want to make a selection of the pictures I want to edit. Let's say I like this picture right here and I want to select it. So I'm going to name it 5-star. So to make it as 5-star, you can just click on this dot right here. It's going to be a 5-star. Or you can just click on 5 right here. It's going to be 5-star. So I'll select these 2 pictures as a 5-star. So if I come to my 5-star album right here, I'm going to get these 2 pictures right here. Or if I come to my rating right here, click on 5-star, I'm going to get these 2 pictures right here. What about 1-star? So if I come back to my folder and I use this picture right here as a 1-star, I'm going to click on 1 and it's just going to come to my 1-star folder. So this is good for selection. So let's say you shoot a client and the client wants to select any pictures. So you can just tell the clients to press 5 for any pictures they actually like and they select. So if they press 5, it's going to move to a 5-star. So you know that those are the pictures that the client actually wants. So if you want to edit, you know the pictures inside this 5-star folder are the one the client selected and the one you want to edit. So you can just ignore the rest and just focus on the selected pictures. All right. So that's how this rating actually works. And not just for stars, you can actually use colors to select your image or to organize your image. Now, so select colors. Let's say I want these colors to be on red. I can just click on this color right here and just assign any color I want. So I'm going to choose red for this one. And if I come to my red color right here, under this color tag, I can see the image right here. Also, if I come back to this picture right here and I want this one to be yellow, I can just click on this box right here and just assign this one as yellow. And this picture is going to move to my yellow tag right here, as you can see. So that's how this rating actually works and how the color tag actually works. Now this metadata right here is just the information of your image. So if I click on this image, it's just going to bring out the information of that image right there. Right? So basically, this is how the library folder actually works and how I use it. This keyboard library doesn't really matter. I really don't use it. This keyword right here, I really don't use it. So what I use is this filter right here and just this capture folder, and I want you to know how it actually works. So that's all for this reliable folder right here. Now for the theta, this theta is when you connect your camera to your Capture One. You can actually use your Capture One to take pictures from your camera. So if you connect your camera to a USB cable, from here you can see your exposure. Also from here, you can choose to take pictures, and you have your camera focus, you have your camera settings, or everything inside of Capture One if you connect your camera to your Capture One. So I really don't use this tab right here. The tab which I use is this color tab right here and the adjustment tab right here, because it's what I use for editing. So let's talk about the adjustment tab right here. Now for the adjustment tab, you can see we have the histogram, we have the layer and mask, we have the style brush, which I'm going to remove because I don't use it. We have the smart adjustment. I'm still going to remove this one. I really don't use it. We also have the white balance. We have the exposure, high dynamic range, levels. We have the curves. We have the black and white. We have clarity. We have the hairs. And finally, we have the vignette right here. So you might not see all these options on your own, but you can actually add them by coming to this window, click on Create Floating tab, and just click on the tool you want, and just ask them if you want, like I explained earlier. So I think I'm going to add the base characteristics. So I'm going to click on base characteristics and just add it to my adjustment. I'm going to put it after my histogram. So I have base characteristics and I have my layer mask like this. All right, let's start editing. So I come back to my library and just select the picture which I want to edit. Let's edit this picture right here. So once I select the picture which I want to edit, I'm going to come back to my adjustment. Now for the adjustment, so we have the histogram, and with the histogram, you can see all the information on this image are on the shadow part of the image. So this part right here is the shadow, this part right here is the midtones, while this part right here is the highlights. As you can see, all the information is on the shadow part of the image. So we just come to my exposure and increase the exposure, because some of the information are now beginning to be on the highlight and the midtones part instead of the shadow area. All right. But I'm not going to do this. I just want to show you how the histogram actually works. So I'm going to take this one back. So the first thing I'm going to do for this image, I'm going to balance the exposure. So I'll come to my exposure and just take the exposure up a little bit. All right. Also, for my high dynamic range, I'm going to open up the shadow area just a little bit. So I'll come to my shadow and just open up the shadow and give more information to the shadow area. So if your shadow is too dark, just open up your shadow. If I take it all the way to 100, you can see I'll open up the shadow area. But I feel it's too much right now, so I'm going to take my shadow down a little bit, like so. I'm still going to take it down a little bit, just like this. So I think 20 works for me. Also, for the highlights, I'm going to take down the highlights a little bit. So if your image has a lot of highlights, you can just take it down to bring more information on the highlight area. Right? Let me see if I can find another image to explain the highlights so you can understand better. All right, so let's use this image right here. So just take a look at the highlights on the curtain. If I come to my high dynamic range and just take down the highlights, you can see I'll bring back some information on those highlights here. So let's quickly see the before and after. So this is the before and the after. You can see we have more information on that highlights area. Also, to see your before and after, you can just click on this before and after right here, and this slider is just going to show up and see your before and your after. All right. And also, if you want to undo, you can click on this reset all right here to reset everything we did. Or if I take down these highlights again, if you want to reset only the highlights, you can just click on this undo and just going to take a step back and undo only that selection. So if you want to redo, you can click on this redo right here. So redo that selection. If you want Capture One to automatically edit your image for you, you just click on auto adjust, and Capture One will just automatically edit the image for you. But I don't want that. I'm going to reset it. So that's how this 3 tab up here actually works. All right, so that's for the highlights. Let me just go back to the image which I was using before. Okay, so back to this image, I just took the highlights down a little bit and I open up the shadow. Now the white and the blacks works like the highlights and the shadow. So if I want to open the blacks, which is the darkest part of the image, I'm just going to take the blacks up. I'm just going to open the darkest part of the image. Also, if I want to open the whites on the image, I can just take the whites up. I'm just going to open the whites on the image. Also, I can also take it down a little bit like this. So the highlights and the whites work similarly, while the shadow and the blacks work similarly. So I think I'm going to take the blacks down a little bit like this and just leave the white the way it was, like so. All right. Another important thing I want to explain under this exposure is the white balance, right? The white balance is how cool or how warm your image is. So you want the white balance of your image to be as natural as possible. And to do that, you can just pick this picker tool right here on the white balance and select any gray, white, or dark part of the image to get a close to accurate white balance. So if I click on this dark part right here, it will automatically try to fix white balance for us, as you can see. So let's see the before and after for the white balance, see the before and the after. Also, if I click on this bright part of the image, it's still going to try and fix the white balance for us. So to do it manually, you can just come to the Kelvin. If you want your image to be warm, you can take it towards the orange side and your image is going to be warm. If you want your image to be cool, you can just take it towards the blue side and your image is going to be cool. So I'm going to take it towards the blue side a little bit like so. Also, you can come to the tints and add magentas to the image. Also, add greens to the image if you want to do that. So I think I'm just going to add a little bit of magenta to this image just like this for the white balance. So let's see the before and after of what we've done so far. See the before and the after. The before and the after of what we've done so far. So you can see once I pick this picker tool, it will automatically select the picker tool for us right here on this tab right here. So anything you select from here, it will automatically select it for us up right here. So you don't have to worry about this tool right here. All right. So that's for the white balance. Now for the contrast, if you want to add contrast to your image, you can just move this contrast up like this and add contrast to your image. Or if you want to remove contrast from your image, you can just take the contrast slider down and remove contrast from your image. All right. Also for brightness, brightness works like exposure. The only difference between brightness and exposure is the brightness slider is less intense than the exposure slider. So let's take a look at the exposure again. If I take the exposure up, you can see the effect is looking too much. But for the brightness, let me just take it down a little bit like this. All right. Now for the brightness, if I take it up, you can see it's not as intense as the exposure. That is just the only difference, right? Also for the saturation, if I want to add saturation to my image, I can just move the saturation slider up and add saturation to my image. Also, I can take it down to remove colors or remove saturation from my image or to desaturate my image. So that's how this exposure tab right here actually works. And also that's how this high dynamic range actually works. So I use them hand in hand. That's why I explain both of them together. Now for the levels, I use the levels to add contrast instead of using this contrast slider right here. So do I use my levels? If I want to add contrast to my image, I just move this shadow part inside a little bit. Also move this highlight inside a little bit like this. If I take this highlight part all the way up, it's just going to brighten the image. It's not going to look too good. So just play with it and see how it works. All right. So it varies from image to image. So like this works for me. Also, you can use the levels to add colors to your image. So if I come to this red channel, so if I want to add reds to the highlights of this image, all I have to do is move this slider inside and just going to add reds to the highlights of this image. While if I want to add reds to the shadow of this image, I'm going to come to this place and just move this one inside like this and just going to add reds to the shadow of this image. Now, if I move this one inside, it's going to add green because the opposite of red is green. Also, if I want to add greens to the highlights, I can just move this part inside and just going to add greens like that. Also, you can do the same thing for the green channel. So just play with it. You can do the same thing for the blues. Just play with it. What I usually do, I just use it to add contrast with the RGB like this. So that's how the levels actually works. Now for the curves, I can also use the curve to add contrast to my image. I just come to my RGB and just create an S curve. So put a dot right here, put another one right here to add contrast to my image, as you can see. So this is an S curve. So I can just undo that. Also, if I want to brighten my image, I can just come to my curves and just take it up like this to add brightness to my image. I'm also going to undo that. So still on the curves, you have our luma right here, which is luminosity. So we can use to add brightness or reduce brightness for our image. So it's really going to affect only the bright and dark part of the image. It's not going to affect the colors on the image. All right. Now we have the reds, the green, and the blues. Now just like in levels, if I take it down, I'm going to be adding greens to the image. Or if I take it up, I'm going to be adding reds to the image. So if I want to add reds to the shadow of my image, I can just take it up a little bit like this, and I will be adding reds to the shadow part of my image. But if I want to add reds to the highlight of my image, I can just take this one up, and I'll be adding reds to the highlight of my image. Also, if I want to add greens, I can take it down because the opposite of red is green, right? So you can do the same thing for the green and the blues. So if I take it down, I'm adding yellows. If I take it up, I'm adding blues to the image. So levels and curves works the same thing. So you can just choose what you want to use and use it. All right. But basically, I just create an S curve. I use it to add contrast to my image, or use it to brighten my image like that. All right. Now for the black and white, it's very easy. If you want to turn your image to black and white, just click on black and white right here. I'm just going to turn your image to black and white and have some sliders to play with right here. So that's how this black and white actually works right here. Okay. Now clarity, pretty easy. If you want to add clarity to your image, just move the clarity slider up. And you're going to add clarity for your image. Also the haze, if you have haze on your image, you can just use the dehaze slider to remove haze from your image or reduce the haze you have on your image. All right. Just like that. Vignette, let's say you want to add that vignette to your image. If you want to add white vignette, you can add white like this. If you want to add dark, you can add dark vignette to your image like this. And you also have different vignette options. So if I click on this circular right here, it's just going to do a circle vignette for us, as you can see, like so. So that's all for this exposure tab right here. But what I basically do, I just change my white balance. Also, I do my exposure and do my high dynamic range and just use levels to add contrast to my image. So that's what I do inside my exposure tab. Now, let's come to our color tab right here. So after I finish explaining our color tab, I'm going to show you how the layer tab actually works. All right. Now for the color tab, we have the base characteristics and we have the ICC profile. Now this ICC profile is when you can actually change the ICC profile of the camera you shoot with. So this image was shot with a Nikon Z5. So let's say I want to change the ICC profile of this camera right here. I'm going to click on it and I have different camera ICC profile to choose from. So let's say I want this sunny feel to my image. I'm going to scroll the way down and just look for sunny right here. And we have different sunny camera. So let's say I want the Sony A7. Once I click on the Sony A7, you can see the color of the image has changed compared to how it was before with the Nikon Z5. You can see the generic and the standard. So if I also I can come to Canon and just select this Canon EOS arrow, just click on Pro Standard or Generic. You can see the color has changed. So you have different ICC profile to choose from. So that's how this base characteristic ICC profile actually works. All right. Now we still have the white balance right here. Now under the white balance, we have the color editor right here. And if you can see all these options, you can just come to your Windows, come to your create floating tool, and you can actually select any tool you want right here. So if you're looking for this color editor, just come to your color editor right here and you are going to select it. So you have to just click on it and it's just going to show up. You can click and drag it right here like that. Okay. So under this color editor, we have the basic, we have the advanced, and we have the skin tone. And I'll be taking my time to explain them individually. All right. So I'm going to use this image right here to explain this color editor because it has a lot of color on the image. So let's start with the basics. All right. Now for the basics, you can see we have different colors right here. So any color I choose from, you can see we have three slider, we have the hue, we have the saturation, and we have the lightness. Now the hue is the exact color present on the image. While for saturation is the intensity of the colors present on the image. While for the lightness is how dark or how bright you want the color to be. Then let's start with the hue. So if I click on this red color right here, you just focus on the reds on the image. If I just play with the hue slider, you can see all the red color on the image are changing. So if I take it to this side, you can see they are now pink. Now you can see I've used the hue to change the colors of the reds on the image. Now for the saturation, if I want the colors of that reds to be more intense, I can just come to my saturation, just take the saturation up. I'm just going to make the colors of the reds more intense. But if I take it down, I'm just going to remove those colors on the reds present on the image. You can see it's affecting only the reds because we're working on the red color. Now for the lightness, if I take the lightness down, you can see the reds on the image are not dark, while if I take it up, you can see the reds of the image are now bright, as you can see. So that's how the hue, saturation, and the lightness actually works, and it works for different colors on the image. Now let's come to the yellows. I can do the same thing for the yellows. Change the colors of the yellows, as you can see. Increase the intensity of the yellows. Also make it dark or make it bright if I want to, like that. So that's how this tilde tab right here actually works, and you can use it for different colors. All right. If you don't want to work on a specific color, you want to work on all the colors of the image at once, just click on this general right here. And once you click on this general, any adjustment you make is going to affect the whole colors present on the image. So I just play with the hue. you can see it's changing all the colors on the image. Also, if I come to the saturation, it's affecting all the colors present on the image, as you can see. So that's for the general right there. All right. So that's for the basic. Now let's come to the advanced. Now for the advanced, it works the same way, but you can target specific color. All right. So let's say I want to target only the colors of this flower right here. So I can just click on this picker tool. Once I select this picker tool, you can see it automatically select this tool for us right here. If I uncheck it, you can see the tool is no longer selected. So as I said earlier, don't worry about this tool up here. So once I select this picker tool, I'm just going to make a selection of this color right here. Once I make a selection of that color, I can narrow that selection to affect only the one which I selected. And to do that, I can just remove it from the reds and just make sure only that color is selected, as you can see. Also, I can take down the smoothness. Just make sure it's targeting only that specific color. If I play with the hue, it's going to affect only the flowers. Also, if I play with the saturation, it's going to affect only the flowers. So if I open it up, you can see it's affecting the colors close to it, but I don't want to affect the color close to it. So I'm going to narrow it down even more so that I can have more control over that specific color right there. So if I play with the lightness, you can see right now it's affecting more of those flowers right there. So with the advanced, you have more control over it. So you can select multiple colors. So if I click on this picker tool, multiple colors, and just work with multiple colors, we still have the hue, we still have the saturation, also we still have the luminance right there. So that is the difference between the basic and the advanced. Now for the skin tone, you can use this to make the colors of your skin to look even and uniform. Now I'm going to be explaining the skin tone and the layer and mask at the same time because they work hand in hand. All right. Now I want to come down under the color. We have this color balance right here. So for the color balance, we have the master, we have the three-way, we have the shadow, we have the highlight, and we have the midtones right here. Okay. So I'm going to come back to this image and use this image right here to explain that. Now for the master, the way this master works is that any color you add is going to affect the whole image. So if I add blues, say if I just move this place right here and add blues, you can see the blue is affecting the whole image. Also, if I add reds, you can see the red is affecting the whole image. If I add green, the green is affecting the whole image. And I can use this wheel right here to reduce the saturation. That is the amount of green you want to add to the overall image. Alright, you can either use this wheel right here to add saturation or reduce saturation, or you can just click on the dots and just take it down to add or remove saturation. So we have the shadow, we have the midtones, and we have the highlights right here. So let me just reset this master. Alright, so let's come to the shadow. Now let's say I want to add a specific color to the shadow area. I can just add blues to the shadow. So if I come to my blues, it's just going to affect only the shadow part. And I can choose to add the amount of lightness or decrease the amount of lightness with this slider right here. Also, with this slider right here, I can add saturation and reduce the saturation with this slider right here. So I can just move this one right here to add any color I want to the shadow area, as you can see. So let's say I add blues to the shadow area. I'm just going to reduce the saturation a little bit, like so. For the midtones, I can add any colors to the midtones as well. So I'm going to add a little bit of oranges to the midtones like this. All right, so I'll play with the saturation and also play with the lightness like this. Just take the lightness down, just like that. And with this wheel right here, just make sure I get the colors I want to add to the midtones. All right, now for the highlights, I can choose to add any colors I want for the highlights. I'm going to add a little bit of greens to the highlights. I'm going to move it towards my green side and just take down the lightness a little bit. Also, take down the saturation a little bit like this. All right. So that's how this color balance works for the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights. So you can choose to add any colors to your highlights area, your midtones area, or your shadow area. So this three-way is the same thing as the shadow, the midtones, and the highlight. So instead of having them separately, with this three-way, you can just have them in a single place and you can choose to work on them right from this place right here. So we still have the black and white right here if you want to turn your image to black and white. All right, so that's for the color tab. I hope you understand. Now, let's talk about the skin tone and layer mask. So if I want to even out the colors of this skin tone, I'll first of all create a new layer mask. All right. So I can choose to select my subject, or I can choose to create a new adjustment layer right here. So if I just click on this select subject right here, Capture One will automatically select my subject for me. And if you want to see that mask, you can just press M on your keyboard and just going to show the selection. Now you can see my subject is selected. So any adjustment I make right now is going to be affecting my subject. But since I want to even out my skin tone, I want only my skin tone to be selected. So I'm going to remove the selection from the earring, the lips, this thing on our eyes, and also from the dress. Now to do that, you can just pick the eraser tool right here. Once you pick the eraser tool, you can manually erase it from where you don't want. So I'm going to erase it from this earring right here. So as you can see, I'm moving that mask from the earrings because I don't want it to affect the earrings like this. So I'm manually removing it. Now Capture One has this AI erase where you can automatically erase a place. So if I click on this AI eraser tool right here, you can see it automatically changed to this AI erase right here for me. So from here, if I want to erase the dress, I can just click on the dress like this and just going to make a selection. So those parts that are blues are the part that is going to automatically help me erase. So once I click on it, it will automatically remove that part from the selection. Also, I can click on the earring and just click on it. It will automatically help me erase that part on the selection. But this image is kind of complicated, so I'm going to do it manually. So I'm going to pick on my eraser tool and just erase it manually because I want to get a perfect selection like so. All right. Also, for your brush settings, if you just right click, you can change the size of your brush, the hardness of your brush, the opacity of your brush, and the flow of your brush. So I want to take my opacity to 100 and just take the flow to about 65% and just brush like so. So you can see I've mistakenly removed this part from the selection. To bring this part to the selection, I can just pick my normal brush tool and just paint on that part. So this is my brush size. So you can use the scroll bracket key to increase and decrease your brush size and just manually paint on that particular place to add that particular place to the selection. Now also, I'm going to pick my eraser tool and just remove that effect from the eyes and the lips as well because I don't want it to affect the lips. I just want it to affect the skin tone because I'm trying to even out the skin tone. All right, so I'm going to paint it like this. Now, since the skin tone consists of mostly reds, oranges, and yellows, that's why I'm just removing those oranges, reds, and yellows on image because I don't want it to affect it. All right. So if I zoom in like this, so to zoom in, I'm just going to click on this slider right here and just zoom in and just manually remove it from this part as well. Remove it like this. Remove it like this because I don't want it to affect those parts. All right. Now, if I zoom in even more, you can see I will move it to where I don't want it. So I'm going to add that piece to the selection. So I'll pick my normal brush tool and just add this part to the selection. So you can see my brush size is small. We're going to add this part to the selection like this. While you're doing this, actually take your time to mask out your subject and just make sure only the skin tone is selected. All right. So I'm just going to hide that mask by pressing M on my keyboard to hide that mask. All right. Now, any adjustment I make is just going to affect only where there is mask. So once I hide it, I'm going to come to my color editor, click on skin tone, and click on this picker tool. Once I select that picker tool, I'm going to use it to select a reference which I want the rest of my skin tone to look like. So let's say I want the rest of my skin tone to look like this part right here. I'm just going to select this part. Once I select that part, I'm going to scroll all the way down. Just come to my uniformity and just move the hue of the uniformity up like this. Also, move the saturation up. Also, play with the lightness and see. So basically, I leave my lightness to 0. I just play mostly with the hue and the saturation. So that this works for me. So just take a look at the image. See the before. You can see, just take a look at the neck. You can see the way it was before and the after. You can see the color has changed. The before and the after. The before and the after. The skin tone are looking uniform. So you can take the hue up if you want. Also, you can also come to your amount and just play with the hue of the amount. You can see if I take it to this side, I'm adding greens. If I take it to this side, I'm adding magentas. So I'm going to take it towards the side a little bit. Also, you can play with the saturation. So if I take it to this side, I'm adding saturation to the image. If I take it to this side, and movie saturation from the image. I think I'm going to add a little saturation like this. So you can play with the lightness. So this lightness is how dark or how bright you want your skin tone to look like. So if I take it, I'm going to take it down a little bit to just darken the skin tone a little bit. So take a look at the skin tone. So this is the before. I see how it was, and the after. The before and the after. And for me, if you feel it's too much, since we are working on a layer, we can just reduce the opacity of that layer right there, just like that. So that's how this skin tone actually works. Now let's dive deep into layer and mask and show you how it actually works. I'm going to use this image right here. All right. Now for layer and mask, if you want to create a new feed adjustment layer, just right click on this drop that icon right here and click on new field adjustment layer. Once you create a new field adjustment layer, any adjustments you make is going to affect the entire image, because if I just press M to show the mask, you can see the whole image is selected. So that means any adjustment you make right now is going to affect the whole image. So if I just come to my exposure and just take down the exposure a little bit, you can see it's affecting the whole image because we create a new field adjustment layer, right? But if we don't want it to affect the whole image and want our adjustment to affect specific parts of our image, we have to create a new adjustment layer. So to do that, click on this drop down icon again, just click on new adjustment layer right here. So once you create a new adjustment layer, if I press M on my keyboard, nothing is going to show because we've not made a mask. So with the new adjustment layer, we have to create a mask. So let's say I want to darken the down part of this image. I can choose to pick my brush tool and just brush on this part to darken it. So I'm just going to increase my brush size and just brush on this dark part, on this down part of the image. And right now, any adjustment I make is going to affect only that down part of the image because that's where it's selected. So if I come to my adjustment and just take down the exposure, you can see it's affecting only that part of the image. So that's the difference between adjustment layer and field layer. All right. So I can rename this layer darken and create another empty adjustment layer and just make the brush like this. And just come to my exposure and just brighten it up. And it's going to affect only that particular place. And just rename this one brighten. So we have our darken layer and we have our brighten layer. So I'm going to press M again to hide that mask. You have the ability to reduce the opacity if you feel it's too much, just like that. All right. So that's for the new feed layer and the adjustment layer. Also, we have our subject layer. So if you select our subject layer, Capture One will automatically select our subject for us instead of doing it manually, and we can make any adjustment we want to make to our subject layer. Okay, so if I press M, you can see only our subject layer selected. So I can make any adjustment and it's going to affect only our subject layer. So likewise, the background. If I want to select only the background, I can just click on background right here. And Capture One is just going to select the background for us. So I can come to my exposure and darken the background. And not just exposure, you can actually do any adjustments, both colors and everything. It's just going to affect only the selected part of the image, right? So that's for the masking right here, okay? Now, another thing I want to talk about. So let's say I create a new empty adjustment layer. So after creating a new empty adjustment layer, and I want my subject to be on this empty adjustment layer, so instead of manually selecting my subject, I can just right click on this layer and just click on copy mask from and click on subject mask. I'm just going to copy my subject mask to this empty adjustment layer, and any adjustment I make is just going to affect my adjustment layer. Also, I can create another empty adjustment layer, and if I want to copy my background, I can just right click and just click on copy mask from, click on background. I'm just going to copy my background mask and put it on this adjustment layer. So any adjustment I make is just going to affect that layer right there. So that's for the layer right there. So I'm just going to delete all the layers I created. I hope you know how it works. If you are confused, you can just take this video back and just watch it again. All right. Now, still on the masking, you can create a gradient mask. I can just move it up like this and it will automatically create a gradient map for me. And any adjustment I make is just going to affect that gradient right here. So that's for the gradient. Also, I can create a new empty adjustment layer. Just click on the gradient and just put it down like this. And now I can just brighten this particular place. So that's for the gradient. Also for the radial gradient, I can just create a new empty adjustment layer. Click on my radial gradient right here and just make a selection of this part and just going to affect only that particular place. So I can choose to feather it like this. As you can see, I can just move it like this if I want to make it small, like this. So right now, any adjustment I make is just going to affect the surroundings and it's not going to affect the subject. So if I just put the exposure down like this, you can see it's affecting the surroundings and it's not affecting that place right there. But I can also invert it and make it affect only the subject and not affect the surrounding. So to invert it, I can just click on it like this, right click, and just click on invert mask. And right now, you can see it's affecting the subject. So if I make adjustment right now, it's affecting the subject and not the background. So if I take it up, now you can see it's affecting only that particular place. So if you want to invert it again, just right click and just click on invert mask right here. And the good thing is that you have the ability to reduce the opacity and increase the opacity if you want to. Now, still on the layer and mask, you can see right here, we have this AI brush right here. Now, with this AI brush, it will automatically detect specific color of your image and try to select those color at once. So if I just select the skin tone right now, Capture One is just going to detect the skin tone, as you can see. If I click on select, it's just going to make a selection of that skin tone for me. So if I press on M, you can see it has selected the skin tone for me. Also, if I want to erase it, with this AI erase right here, if I just click on it, it's just going to select where I want to erase. So if I just click right now, it's just going to remove those masks for me. So the mask is no longer there. Also, if I click here, it will automatically erase those masks for me instead of doing it manually. Also, this magic brush right here, it works the same way. So if I just paint right now, it's just going to detect the skin color right there and just try to help me fill those color right there for me, as you can see. So let's just wait for it. You can see it's calculating mask. It's just going to automatically select those places for me. Let's use this image right here. If I want to select the yellows, I can just make a selection of this place, and Capture One is just going to calculate those color for me and automatically help me select the yellows right there. Also, for the magic erase, if I just click on it and just click on this and just increase my brush size, so let's just increase the brush size and just click on erase. So Capture One will automatically calculate it and just try to erase that place for me with the magic erase. That's how it works. What I usually do, I use the normal brush tool and the AI brush tool, the normal eraser tool and the AI eraser tool, because I think it works better for me. So under this layer mask, we also have the heal and the close stamp tool. So with the heal, you can use it to remove blemishes from your image. So once I select the heal and just make a selection of any blemishes which I want to remove, Capture One will automatically remove that blemishes, as you can see. So once I select here, it's just going to remove, and I can choose to select where I want Capture One to help me use to fill that place for me. So just select the blemishes and Capture One will automatically remove it for you. So let's see. So let's see the before and after. Just take a look at the image. Take a look at the blemishes. See the before and after. See the before and the after. The before and the after. So you can actually use Capture One here to remove blemishes from the image, but I prefer to do this using Photoshop because it's more easy for me. Also, we have the close stamp tool. If I click on close stamp tool, and let's use the close stamp tool to remove blemishes from the image. When I select the close stamp tool, I'm just going to reduce my brush size and just press Option or Alternate to sample from a good place and just use it to fill where I want to fill. So if I want to fill this place, I can just click on that place and it's just going to fill it. Also, press Alternate to sample from a close by area and just sample from here and just fill these blemishes like this. I'm just going to remove that blemishes for me. So let's remove one obvious blemishes before we continue. So let's say I sample from this place. So I'm going to press Option or Alternate to sample from here and just fill this particular blemishes right there and just going to remove it. So let's see our before and our after. Okay, so take a look at the image. This is the before and the after. The before and the after. So you can just do it and just use it to remove here you want to remove like that. So I usually don't use the close stamp tool or the heat to send the Capture One because it's complicated and it's not fast compared to Photoshop, but this is basically how it works. Alright, so next I want to talk about is the crop tool right here. So if you want to crop your image, just click on the crop tool and you can manually crop your image, or you can just select how you want to crop your image by clicking on this drop down icon and just choose 4x5 if you post more on Instagram. So 4x5 always works for me. And this grid is going to show, and you can click on grid right here if you want to show your grid. Just click on 4x5 and click on OK. And if you want to hide your grid, just click on grid right here, and it's just going to hide that grid for you. Also, if you want to straighten your image, you can just click on this straight right here and just draw a line and just try to straighten your image. The Capture One will automatically try and straighten your image for you. Also, if you want to rotate your image, you can just click on this rotate key right here and just manually rotate your image the way you want. But if you want to do it automatically, click on this drop down icon again, just click on rotate left. So once you click on rotate, it's just going to automatically rotate your image for you, just like that. So I'm just going to reset this and just leave it on default like this. So basically, all the tools we've used so far, we can find them up here, like the AI eraser tool, the eraser tool, the gradient map tool, just like that. So we have the picker tool. Now, another thing I want to talk about is copy and paste. All right. So let's say I've edited this image, all right, and I want to copy the adjustment I did for this image and paste it on similar image. So if I just increase the exposure of this image and take down the highlights like this, and I want to paste this adjustment to the similar image, what I can do is just click on this copy right here. And if you can't find your copy and paste, if you can't find your copy and apply, just click on this place, click on customize toolbar. You are going to see the copy I apply inside here. Not this copy I apply. This copy I apply is the one I'm looking for. So just click and drag this copy and apply and put it right there if you can't already find it right here. All right. So once I copy that adjustment, I can select multiple image. So if I select multiple image and you want to make sure the image are selected, just click on this box right here and all the image you select is going to show. But if you uncheck it, it's not going to show like this. So just click on it right here to show your selected image. So right now, I've selected 4 similar images. So I'm going to apply the same adjustment I did for the rest of the image. So I'm going to click on apply right here. I'm just going to apply that adjustment for the whole of the similar image. So that's how you can copy and paste edit inside of Capture One. All right. Also, we have the exposure warning. Now, this exposure warning helps us to know if our image is too exposed or if the highlights of our image is peaking. If I just click on this exposure warning right here, you can see those red parts of the image. It means those parts are overexposed and there are no details in those parts of my image. All right. So that's the function of this exposure warning right here. Now, there are other toolbars we can talk about. So if I just click on this angle right here, we have the styles right here. Now for the styles, we have some inbuilt Capture One presets. So this is one I created. So if I just click on this melanin skin tone, it's just going to apply that melanin preset for me. So this is my custom Capture One style. Also, I believe in the link where you can get this preset in below of this video. So we also have some inbuilt Capture One style. So I'm going to reset this. So we have the basic edit. You can see. Also, we have some inbuilt looks. So I'm going to reset it and come back to some inbuilt looks. So we have the cool, we have the warm feel, we have the film. Also, we have some inbuilt Capture One presets. So you can see them right here. We have the black and white preset, as you can see. So these are inbuilt Capture One presets. There are a lot of inbuilt Capture One presets. So we have the color balance. So you can just choose any one and apply it to your image. So that's for this style layer right here. Now we have the refine. Now for the refine, you can add sharpening to your image. Also, you can use the refine to reduce noise. If your image has noise, you can use the noise reduction to reduce noise from your image. You can also add film grains to your image. So if you want to add grains to your image, you can just move it up and it's going to add those digital noise or film grains to your image. So that's for this, what's it called? This refine right here. You can also remove dust from your image. Also, if you have those purple fringing on your image, you can just defringe your image because some image, if you shoot it, the edges are going to be kind of purple. So you can just remove purple fringe to remove it inside of Capture One. And after editing your image inside of Capture One, and you want to edit it to Photoshop, just right click on your image and just click on edit with and just click on Adobe Photoshop. And from here, you can choose to use 8-bit or 16-bit and just click on edit variant and just going to open the image inside of Photoshop and you can start doing your scale retouching. And if you want to learn how to retouch your image inside of Photoshop from start to finish, check out this video right here. I'll see you guys in my next one. Stay creative.